May 2011, midnight. Dan Saunders presses his forehead against the cold window of his five-star hotel suite. Outside, police lights sweep across the empty street in sharp red and blue flashes. His hands won't stop shaking. 4 months ago, he was nobody. A broke bartender in a quiet Victorian town. Invisible, ordinary. Now he flies on private jets, stays in luxury villas, and drinks champagne most people couldn't afford in a lifetime. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight, those flashing lights feel like they're getting closer, like they're here for him. Someone is coming. Someone finally knows. But how does a regular bartender end up hacking the banking system and pulling millions out of thin air? To understand that, we go back to the night everything changed. It was a February night in Wangaratta. Dan, 29, a little buzzed from cheap beer, stumbled out of the pub at closing time. All he wanted was enough money for a cab ride home. He found an ATM under a fading streetlight and slid in his worn-out bank card. The screen glitched, then displayed the strange message, "Balance unavailable at this time." A second later, it flashed his account balance, $342. He knew that was wrong. He didn't even have $10. Most people would have walked away. Dan didn't. On impulse, he attempted to move $200 from his credit account into his empty savings. The machine rejected the transaction. He tried something riskier, a $200 withdrawal directly from his nearly empty savings account. And somehow, it worked. The machine released real cash straight into his hands. Dan stared at the money, stunned. Every bill was real. This wasn't some visual bug. Something inside the banking system had opened a door that shouldn't exist. He looked up at the security camera. No alert, no message, no interruption. He tried again. Another withdrawal, and another. Every attempt gave him more money. By the time he walked away from that lonely street, he had $1,300 in his wallet, more than he'd held in months. As he walked home, a wave of adrenaline rushed through him. It felt unreal, almost impossible, like he had stumbled into a glitch in reality. A loophole, a flaw, a secret backdoor into the banking system, one no one had noticed, and it gave him access to unlimited money. But even in that thrill, one cold thought whispered at the back of his mind. What if someone catches on? What if tomorrow, everything comes crashing down? Dan had discovered a secret worth millions, but every secret comes with a cost. And tonight, those flashing police lights outside his hotel window were the first sign that the cost was finally catching up to him. Morning light slices through Dan's blinds. He wakes up groggy, half convinced the whole thing was just a drunken fantasy. But then he sees it, sitting on his nightstand like a trophy. A fat wallet, stuffed with $2,000 he definitely didn't have yesterday. His heart jolts. It's real. Every bill, every dollar, real. Hand shaking, Dan grabs his phone and calls the bank's automated hotline. The robotic voice reads out his savings balance, $2,000. No alerts, no blocks, no warnings. The money came from somewhere he shouldn't have been able to touch, but the system didn't stop him. Not yet. And that's when ideas start forming. Reckless, brilliant, dangerous ideas. If the ATM is blind between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., if it lets him pull cash it shouldn't, then maybe he can loop it. Take money out at night, cover the negative balance with a fake transfer the next night, then withdraw even more. A cycle, a cash yo-yo, money appearing from nowhere, disappearing on command. Insane. But the previous night proved insanity might just work. That night, under the stillness of the stars, Dan returns to the glowing ATM. His heart pounds as the clock hits 1 a.m. He slides in his card,
Try something bold, a $4,000 transfer from his credit account to his nearly empty savings, the kind of move the system should instantly reject. But the machine accepts it without question. Dan withdraws $2,000 in cash, enough to cover yesterday's ghost balance, enough to keep the loop alive. Night after night, he pushes further. More experiments, more money, more risk. $8,000, $16,000, $50,000. His withdrawals grow as fast as his confidence. On day 12, everything nearly collapses. The ATM freezes mid-transaction, trapping his card. Seconds stretch like hours. Dan's stomach knots. This could be the end. But then, the machine releases his card. No error, no shutdown, just another night. Weeks later, Dan strolls into a local bank branch, relaxed, confident, untouchable. Until the teller casually mentions his savings balance. Over $1 million. Dan nearly collapses. On paper, he's a millionaire. In reality, he's holding the keys to a private money tree only he knows exists. Cash created from nothing, a glitch turned into gold. The adrenaline is intoxicating. He feels unstoppable, like a modern-day alchemist turning code into fortune. But even in the high, even in the rush of the impossible, a quiet voice whispers, every miracle has an end. Every loophole closes eventually. Dan spends his days planning his next moves, and his nights repeating his midnight ritual at the ATM. He knows he's playing with a system that wasn't meant to bend, and one wrong move could bring everything crashing down. And, unlike the ATM, real life doesn't reset.
By March 2011, Dan Saunders' life has exploded into something he never imagined. The guy who once counted tips at a bar is now moving through each day like he's won the universe's private lottery. What started as harmless curiosity, testing a strange ATM glitch, has turned into a nightly ritual. Every midnight, Dan performs his secret dance of shifting phantom money, bouncing invisible dollars between accounts, and withdrawing more cash than he ever dared in the beginning. Every morning, he wakes up to a wallet stuffed so full it barely folds. It feels unreal, yet the money spends just fine. And Dan, he wastes no time reinventing himself. Private jets become normal. Within weeks, he's flying to Bali on a whim, lounging in cliffside villas with infinity pools that spill into the horizon. Sunburnt afternoons, beachside cocktails, staff who look at him like he's royalty. At nightclubs, he slams his black card down and orders champagne for everyone in the VIP section. A single night burns through $50,000, but he doesn't blink. Money isn't money anymore. It's freedom, dominance, and a kind of high he's never felt before. But not everything he does is reckless. Dan finds an unexpected thrill in generosity. A friend drowning in tuition? Paid off. Someone crushed under debt? Cleared. A stranger with a heartbreaking story? Handled. With a few taps, he can change someone's entire life, and that power is addictive. For the first time, Dan feels like he matters, like he isn't invisible anymore. And the world seems to agree. Men nod to him with respect. Women lean closer when he speaks. Crowds part when he walks in. People whisper about him, the mysterious millionaire who can make dreams come true. But under all the champagne and applause, the truth never leaves his mind. None of this is real. His wealth lives in a glitch, a loophole, a digital ghost that only he knows exists. And carrying that secret is getting heavier every day. The breaking point arrives one night when his closest friend, Jake, pulls him aside. Dan is about to slip away for another midnight transfer when Jake grabs his wrist, firm, trembling with fear. Jake has watched him. Jake has pieced it together, and Jake delivers the one warning Dan never wanted to hear.
"You're going to prison, mate, and I can't watch it happen." Then Jake lets go, turns away, and disappears into the crowd, leaving Dan alone with a pounding heartbeat and a sinking stomach. For all the luxury, the gifts, the glory, this is the first real crack. If even his closest friend sees the danger now, how long before someone else does? Even the closest friend sees the danger now. But will Dan listen before it's too late?
By late spring 2011, the shine of Dan Saunders' limitless wealth begins to peel away. The man who once sprinted through life on adrenaline now wakes up every morning with trembling hands, a physical reminder of a thrill that is curdled into fear. The nightmares hit first. Night after night, Dan sees flashing red and blue lights pouring through hotel windows. Sirens chase him through whatever city he's in, Sydney, Melbourne, Bali, it doesn't matter. In his dreams, he's always running, always cornered, always seconds away from being caught. And when he wakes, drenched in sweat, the fear doesn't stop. A random knock at the door, a number he doesn't recognize calling his phone. Every small interruption hits him like a punch to the gut. Paranoia becomes his new ritual. Every morning he sits at his laptop, types his own name into Google, and pairs it with words like arrest, fraud, charges. He holds his breath as the page loads. And each time, nothing. No articles, no updates, no accusations. But the silence doesn't calm him, it terrifies him. Because silence means the storm is forming somewhere out of sight. His anxiety attacks start creeping in without warning. One moment he's eating breakfast, the next his heart is pounding as if it's trying to tear through his chest. He can't breathe, he can't think, and worst of all, he can't tell anyone. His life has become a private battlefield between fear and guilt. Meanwhile, the bank only notices the surface level chaos. Fraud alerts buzz his phone, but they're laughably mundane. Did you spend $8,000 at a luxury hotel? Yes, that was me. It's almost surreal. He's siphoning millions through a loophole, yet the only thing the bank seems concerned about is a fancy suite and a bottle of overpriced champagne. It's absurd, it's ridiculous, and it makes the whole situation even more unstable. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much. One night, Dan sits on his bed and stares at the clock as midnight approaches, the hour he always uses for his secret transfers. But this time, he does nothing. No transfers, no shuffling funds. He decides to let the glitch reveal itself. The next morning, he checks his accounts, and everything collapses. The numbers have plunged, negative millions. The banking illusion that once fueled his lifestyle has evaporated, exposing a brutal truth. Every dollar he spent, every villa he rented, every friend he helped, all of it was tracked, logged, and waiting to be counted. Panic slams into him. He braces for the knock on the door. Police, investigators, someone. But nobody shows up. No sirens, no calls. Just a suffocating, consuming silence. And that silence is worse than capture. It means the authorities are watching. It means they're building a case. It means everything he's done is about to come back to him, slowly, inevitably, painfully. The fantasy of infinite wealth is dead. What remains is dread, raw, exhausting, inescapable. For the first time, Dan fully understands the consequences he's running toward, and he has no idea how close they really are. The fantasy is over, but the authorities aren't knocking, yet. What will happen next?
2 years drift by like a fog Dan Saunders can't escape. He's no longer living the high life. No more jets, no more villas, no more jaw-dropping nights of reckless spending, but the shadow of what he did follows him everywhere. The $1.6 million is gone, long absorbed by parties, generosity, and fantasies he can barely remember clearly. But the guilt? That stays. Every morning he wakes, wondering, is today the day? Every time a car slows outside his house, his chest tightens. Every unknown number on his phone sends a jolt of panic through him. The waiting becomes its own punishment, slow, grinding, relentless. By 2013, the tension becomes unbearable. So Dan does the unthinkable. He doesn't wait for the knock. He doesn't hide. He goes public. He calls a major newspaper and unloads everything. The midnight hack, the phantom transfers, the $1.6 million illusion, the champagne-soaked nights, the private jets, the generosity, the fear. The story explodes across the country. TV stations fight for interviews. He sits in studio lights, walking reporters through the glitch step by step, as if he's narrating someone else's life. People watch in disbelief, the broke bartender who became a secret millionaire on a loophole no one had ever noticed. And then, the police step in. For the first time, the fear he's lived with for years becomes real. Charges are filed. Court dates are set. The cold, unavoidable truth. Sitting in the courtroom, Dan feels like he's watching a bizarre play about himself. Even the professionals seem confused. He stole money that didn't exist. The prosecutor stumbles over the absurdity. The judge asks for clarification again and again, eyebrows raised, baffled. Jurors exchange looks like they've been handed a puzzle missing half the pieces. Dan almost laughs, not out of pride, but at the sheer surrealism of it all. He's the only person who ever truly understood the glitch. The bank didn't, the system didn't, and now the courtroom doesn't either. He pleads guilty, not because he's forced to, but because he's finally ready. The exhaustion, the fear, the guilt, he wants it to end. The sentence? 1 year in prison, 18 months of community corrections. It's not light, it's not devastating, it's somewhere in the middle, a balance between punishment and mercy. Prison isn't glamorous, it's quiet, reflective, humbling. Dan spends his days thinking about everything he risked, everything he wasted, everything he learned. He finally confronts the truth. The thrill didn't make him free. The money didn't make him powerful. The glitch didn't make him smart. It only blinded him. When he finally walks out, the world feels different, normal, heavy, real. He returns to bartending, the job he once thought he'd escaped forever. And on his first day back, a regular recognizes him. "You're that ATM guy," the man says. Dan braces for ridicule. Instead, the man slides him a $20 tip, grinning. "Best tip you ever earned from real money, mate." Dan laughs, really laughs, for the first time in years, because in that tiny moment, he understands something he never did during his millionaire nights. Wealth might thrill you, but integrity is what saves you. From millionaire highs to a prison cell, but what did Dan truly learn from this wild ride? When Dan Saunders steps back behind the bar, it hits him like a wave of déjà vu. Familiar, ordinary, almost unreal. Just months earlier, he was boarding private jets, signing 5-figure tabs without blinking, living in villas where sunsets looked expensive. Now, he's pouring beers, wiping down counters and sliding change across the bar like he never left. But strangely, there's peace in this simplicity. No more phantom transfers, no more midnight adrenaline spikes, no more waking up terrified that flashing lights will break down his door. For the first time in years, his chest feels light. Customers recognize him, of course. Whispers float through the bar. That's the ATM guy, the millionaire bartender. Didn't he steal money that didn't even exist? Reflection becomes part of his routine. He remembers the rush of unlimited cash, how intoxicating it felt to play God with a glitch, the generosity he loved showing his friends, the nights where he felt invincible. But he also remembers the price, the shaking hands, the sleepless nights, the constant fear of a single knock ending everything. Luxury bought with panic isn't luxury, it's a prison with velvet walls. And with that clarity, Dan sees the truth. It wasn't the money he missed, it was the stability he'd thrown away. He thinks about the people he helped, the tuition he paid, the debts he cleared, the random acts of kindness. But even those good moments are tangled with guilt, so he promises himself something simple. Every generous act from now on will be honest. Every choice will come from integrity, not opportunity. Sometimes, late at night, Dan chuckles at the insanity of it all. How a broke bartender stumbled onto a flaw in the system and lived like royalty for 5 months. It's the kind of story people think only happens in movies. Dan's story isn't just about a glitch or a loophole. It's about the razor-thin line between temptation and integrity. The ATM glitch may be gone, but the lesson is permanent. Fortune tempts you, but integrity defines you.